As Jim Sees It.
For those who might have just tuned in and this came up,
Normally, we have really awesome music, but today, just subscribe.
hello my friends, welcome to another delicious episode of As Jim Sees It. We're going to get back into the story, being on the road, part trace. Last time I talked about this story, where was I? For those who might have just tuned in and this came up on your feed for YouTube, I got a scar, a really nasty one, right here. It goes from my ear all the way down. And it started at the end of a road trip. I caught that one before I screwed it all up. Because there's one thing about these story feeds for YouTube. Avoiding using the word and is essential with telling a story. At least I learned that in college. When I was doing college radio. By the way, lead hit. I know we've talked on the phone. This is probably like my fourth thing of water in my coffee today. I only had one cup of a medium-sized coffee and I refilled it with hot water 4 times. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit that beautiful like button. And continue to follow the content. So the last state we were in was Nashville. I remember the coolant was leaking in the car. I went to that mechanic who had a gun on his side. I thought this is a terrible neighborhood to be in. I need to get out of here. Oh, peanut butter stuck in my tongue. And out of this state. So I called the mechanic that fixed my gearbox in Indiana and I said, hey, you know this vehicle a little bit. You know Ford vehicles in general. This is what's going on, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I told him. I said, you think I should just take it right to Florida? He's like, I think you'll be all right. I said, okay, my man. Hung up the phone, got in the driver's seat, blasted some Mushroom Head and some Fear Factory, which is some metal from when I was young, and I hit the road. And I was so excited to get out of Nashville because I didn't like it there. They painted it all pretty on the television with the country music stars. Like it's some elaborate, wonderful place. And I gotta tell you, I'm not knocking it for everybody, but I'm saying for this guy, I needed to leave. I didn't like it. So I'm on the road. This time I'm going to Savanna, Georgia. Now, I had heard beautiful stories about Savanna, Georgia. One, I heard it was haunted. So I was excited to go. I am going down the highway for quite a few hours. I'd stop, eat some food, take a nap, get back on the highway, listen to Alan Watts on the internet, get back on the highway. I get into Georgia. Georgia was everything that I could have never expected. It is absolutely beautiful. There's these, all right, so I pull in and there's a lot of brick roads all over and the trees are these big, beautiful trees. Look like they got painted by Bob Ross. And it looks like they're painted with the gray moss that hangs down on the trees, and it's incredible. It looks like clouds are just falling from the trees themselves, like stormy clouds. And there's people and traffic everywhere. So I'm like, dude, this is really, really amazing. So I pull into the middle of the town. I grab my GoPro, park the bus, get out and start walking around. Now, right in the middle of the town, they have a lot of these, I don't want to say sarcophagus. Is that the right word? Sarcophagus? I'm screwing it up. I'm not an archaeologist, but they have these huge rocks, right? And they're symbols for the Indians that were war heroes and different cultures around that area, gravestones and stuff, but just these huge rocks. They're just, I mean, it's so majestic and powerful and amazing, and they have these benches. So I was like, man, this place looks beautiful. I'm going to take some pictures and take some videos with my GoPro. So I pull out the GoPro and I start looking around, hit record, look around, snap some pictures, look around. Text my friend, I'm like, hey, I'm in Savanna, Georgia right now. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. The weather is just perfectly crisp at this time. And I go down this brick road, and they have a road there that's like from the 1800s. And it's super steep, and it's these gray bricks, gray and black bricks. It goes down. All the vehicles are traveling around. It's absolutely wild. I'm just amazed at what I'm looking at. And I go to this one spot, and it looked like a scene that you would see from a 1930s book, the way the towns and the inner cities were built. And I feel like I'm going to get on the Titanic. So I go down, and there's this huge river. I don't know the name of it. And there's these monoliths that have like Marine and Army veteran memoirs and pictures and names and stuff. And it was incredible. And then I see the river. I take more video. I go back up the stairs, and I go to my bus, and I hang out for a little bit. I drive around some more, and then the sun starts to set, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go to church. So I go to church, and there's a sermon, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's talking afterwards, and this girl walks up to me, and she's like, hey, you say you're from Ohio, huh? You're visiting, you're traveling on, the bus is there. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, you want to go to the ocean? I'm like, yeah, let's go, I love the ocean. One day I will live by the ocean again. Hopefully it's in the next year. I love it. It doesn't matter what ocean it is. I don't care if it's dirty, if it's clean. Put me in the ocean and I'm alive. So we start driving, it turns dusk. We're driving some more. I play some music in my bus. She's ahead of me. I'm following her in her car. We get to this area that looks like a little town from the movie Jaws. It looks like, so if you pull into a gas station, the way a parking lot is, like that's how big like the area was, but it was like a 3-mile stretch down, and there was a huge hill of grass. So I park my bus, and there's closed what looks like a carny kind of station for food, but they're little businesses that are right by the beach. So I see this hill, I walk over it, she pushes her car door shut, she walks over me, she's like, okay, follow me. So I follow her, and we go down this wooden staircase and into this gazebo. Now, this gazebo was incredible. It seriously was, it had to have been like 200 foot long. I mean, at least it looked that way to me, because I was probably just so like in the moment. it looked like it was the size of half of a football field long and that much wide, and it was a gazebo shape. And you could have fit those horses that are at the carny rides, carousels. I swear you could have, fit 5 inside of that thing and still had room to walk around. And I'm like, wait, we got to stop. And I start taking picture, I start taking video. I'm like, this is absolutely beautiful. So she goes, all right, come on. So we go down and we keep going down the wooden track and we get to the sand, and I just was like, it was nighttime, the moon was out. And when the moon lights up the beach at night, everything gets lit up, especially if there's no light pollution from the city. And I was like, this is it, man. And I just looked at the ocean, and then I just, boom, laid back. And the woman went and laid next to me, and she put on some music that she liked, and it was electronic music, which I'm a huge fan of. I make that. She talked about her life, and I just listened to the ocean and listened to her and listened to the ocean crash. We sat there for 2 hours, and I was like, I think I gotta go, man. I think it's time for me to roll out. So she's like, okay. So we get up, I follow her back to her car, make sure she's safe, and I'm driving out, and I'm like, man, I swear I could live here. Maybe I shouldn't go to Florida. Maybe I should just stay here. And I'm looking around, and they're now hiring signs at hotels and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I could just get a job here for a couple months and stay here. And I'm like, nah, you need to stay on the path, man. Your goal was to go to Florida, finish writing your movie script, try to sell that thing at studios down there. You need to stay focused on the goal. So I'm driving down the road. I go back to that church. I found an area to crash that night, somewhere in the city. I can't remember where. I think it was, I crashed in a hotel parking lot again. And then I got up in the morning and got back on the, I hit the directions and got back on the highway and made my way for Florida. This time it was going to be non-stop. I was going to Florida and I wasn't stopping until I was there. So that's where we're at. Part 3.